You walked into that room. 60 seconds. That's all it took. You knew who was faking it. You spotted the one whose smile didn't reach their eyes. You sensed who was uncomfortable in their own skin. You caught the man performing a confidence he didn't actually have. You read everyone in that room like an open book. And by the end of the night, not a single person noticed you were there. Let that sink in. You saw them all. They saw no one. Most videos will tell you this is social anxiety. They're wrong. This isn't low confidence. This isn't shyness. This is something far more specific. Your brain was so busy processing the room, it forgot to occupy it. You weren't hiding. You were working. And nobody pays attention to the person doing the analysis. They pay attention to the person performing the show. Here's why this matters more than typical advice on social skills. Because the solution isn't be more confident. The solution is mechanical. It lives inside how your attention is allocated. And once you see the mechanism, you can flip the switch. Let me show you what's actually happening inside your skull. Thomas Gilovich, a researcher at Cornell, named it. He called it the spotlight effect. The average person overestimates how much others notice them by 2 to 3 times. They feel watched, even when nobody is watching. But here's the dark twist Gilovich didn't write into his title. Deep thinkers run the opposite program. You assume your perception of others is being returned. It isn't. You think they're studying you the way you study them. They aren't even close. The person who sees everything is almost never equally seen. Read that line again, because it explains the loneliness you've carried for years. You assume depth was mutual. It rarely is. Now let's go deeper into the wiring. Elaine Aron is the psychologist who built the framework for high sensitivity. She calls it sensory processing sensitivity. Her brain scans show something startling. Highly sensitive brains light up in empathy and awareness regions, even during neutral social moments. Moments that produce zero response in everyone else. Think about that. 2 people sit at the same table. One sees a dinner. The other sees a chessboard of unspoken tensions. You're not imagining the layers. Your hardware is built to detect them. You're processing a room most people aren't even registering exists. But this gift has a cost, and the cost is invisibility. Now here's the term most psychology channels won't explain to you. Hypermentalization. It means excessive theory of mind. Overreading the internal states of other people, tracking what they're thinking, what they're hiding, what their micro-expressions are really saying. It feels like a superpower. It functions like a leak, because every drop of bandwidth spent reading them is bandwidth stolen from you. Your working memory has a budget. Picture it as a single tank of fuel. Most people split that fuel between self-presentation and observation. You burn the entire tank on observation, and then wonder why your self-presentation feels like a flickering ghost. Here's the line that will rewire how you see every social event. Deep thinkers aren't invisible because they're afraid. They're invisible because they're occupied. Say it slowly. You weren't afraid in that room. You were busy. You were running a mental radar nobody asked you to run. And the radar ate everything you had to give the moment. Now, stack one more piece of research on top of this. A 2023 study in PubMed Central examined sensitive people in social pain. The finding was brutal. Highly sensitive people experience measurably greater distress from exclusion. Their brains register it as physical pain, real pain. The same regions that fire when you stub your toe. So the invisibility doesn't just sting. It burns through your nervous system like a slow current. And you can't logic your way out of it. Your body is telling you something serious has happened. Because in evolutionary terms it has. Invisibility in a tribe meant death. Your ancient brain still believes it. Now here's the part that flips everything. Most videos on this topic miss the asymmetry. The people who dominate rooms, they're often the ones reading least. Let that hit. They are not perceptive. They are not deep. They are simply unburdened. Freed from social analysis, their entire bandwidth flows into output, into performance, into noise, into visible presence. Their fuel tank runs in one direction only, outward broadcast, while yours runs in the opposite direction. Inward analysis of everyone but yourself. The room reader and the room dominator are running opposite programs. 2 completely different operating systems. And modern social life rewards only one of them. Modern social life was designed to reward the dominator's noise, not the reader's intelligence. That's not a moral failure on your part. That's an architecture problem. Loud cultures don't measure depth. They measure volume. And volume requires a kind of self-absorption you don't have, because your wiring won't let you stop watching everyone else. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Picture a corporate networking event. Glass of wine in your hand, lights too bright. Within minutes, you've mapped the entire hierarchy. You know who reports to whom. You know which two people are quietly resenting each other. You spot the executive whose laughter is half a second too late. You feel the tension between the manager and the new hire. You're reading a movie nobody else knows is playing. Meanwhile, the loudest guy in the room is talking about his weekend. Nothing deep, nothing observed, just volume. 3 weeks later, he gets promoted. 3 weeks later, someone asked if you even came that night. That's not unfair. That's the system doing exactly what it's built to do. Rewarding output, ignoring input. So how do you fix this? Not by becoming the loud guy. You'd hate that, and it would destroy the thing that makes you valuable. You fix this with a precision intervention. I call it the scanner versus broadcaster bandwidth flip. 2 modes, 1 brain. Mode 1, scanner mode. Your default. All attention pointed outward. Reading others. Tracking dynamics. Detecting subtext. Result? Invisible. Mode 2. Broadcaster mode. Attention partially self-directed. You're not performing, you're not faking, you're simply existing visibly inside the room. Result? People register that you're there. Most deep thinkers live entirely in scanner mode. Never flipping, never broadcasting, always reading. And then wondering why life feels like watching through a one-way mirror. Here is the intervention. The 70-30 flip in one social interaction this week. Consciously reallocate 30% of your outward reading attention. Pull it back to yourself, not to perform a personality, not to fake confidence, just to exist in the room instead of studying it. Feel your own feet on the floor. Feel the temperature of the glass in your hand. Notice your own breath instead of their breath. Notice your own posture instead of decoding theirs. That's it. That's the entire technique. It sounds small. It will change everything. Because when your attention is partially anchored in your own body, your presence stops being a ghost in the corner. It becomes a frequency that other people can feel. Presence is not loudness. Presence is occupied space. Until now, you weren't occupying the space. You were patrolling it. Patrol guards are invisible by design. Residents are not. So become a resident of the room. Stand inside your own skin while other people are talking. Stop renting your attention out to every flicker of their face. Here's the closing truth nobody told you. You've been so busy reading the room, you forgot to be in it. The room didn't ignore you. You left before anyone had the chance to notice you were there. That isn't a flaw, it's a habit. And habits can be flipped. But before you go practice this, there's something you need to understand. Something darker about your gift. The same skill that makes you invisible in a room, makes you magnetic to a very specific type of person. Someone who can read people, absorb their emotions, and never draws attention to themselves. That is the perfect target. Not for friendship, for something else entirely. To see exactly how manipulators weaponize your emotional intelligence against you, click here to watch this video. It might change how you view every relationship you have.